I mean, where do we start, right? I think a back of the napkin calculation of numbers he was throwing out was about 170 plus million in spending. You know, if you consider that they expect to grow general revenue by $198 million, you got to kind of wonder who's getting cut. Now let's also talk about that assumption that we're going to grow 2% on top of 1.7% this year. I'm becoming less confident every day that that's going to happen. If you look at year-to-date revenue, we're down 8.76% as of today. That is tremendous. Now I understand the middle-class surprise tax bills that are going to be arriving in likely hundreds of thousands of Missourians' mailbox. That's going to probably balance out some of it. But I challenge you reporters and everyone in Missouri to find someone who can tell you what's going on at House Bill 2540. If you look at the fiscal note, the analysis is troubling at best. I fully expect that we see very little, if any, growth this year, in a year with 3% unemployment, modest wage gains, and seeing state coffers all around us growing fairly substantially. We still haven't seen any withholds. So, you know, if we grow it, if we basically shrink this year by about 0.5%, we can balance it based off the surplus we had from FY18. That's one-time funding, folks. That's one time. I don't want to sound the alarm bells, but it's probably about time we start doing it. We have 2 tax cuts that will continue to be implemented over the next few years. We have tax cut after tax cut after tax cuts that's been layered on top of the state. We're not the federal government. You can't pass a tax cut, blow up the deficit, and just print money. We can't do that. These tax cuts are real. They're going to have very real consequences. And it may not be overnight. It may not be necessarily in FY19 that we have to see withholds. Maybe we can bleed through the FY18 surplus. FY20 is going to be a different story, especially if we're projecting a budget at 2% growth on top of the 1.7 that they're projecting for FY19. FY21, FY22, going to be some really tough years. Just hope we don't see an economic downturn during this time. We don't have the funds. We don't have the reserve funds to be able to balance. These are real priorities that are going to be hit hard. Missouri, I keep hearing, you know, everybody say that at least we're not Illinois. You know what? Illinois doesn't necessarily have a revenue problem. They have a budgeting problem. They don't know when to say no. They're not disciplined. We in Missouri are disciplined. Republicans and Democrats on the budgeting committee were disciplined. We will produce a balanced budget that we think that our revenues are going to grow by. We have a revenue problem in this state, and it's very real. And budgeting is going to become that much more difficult. Thank you.